following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
What's up, rock soldiers, and welcome to another episode of All Bets Are Off. We missed you last week. Just a crazy, hectic week between gigs and matches and out-of-town travel and all that fun stuff. But we're back, and we're going to have a fun episode today. We are breaking down the top 50 hair metal albums of all time as ranked by Rolling Stone. When I say we, Chazz is back in studio with us, or whatever you want to call where we are. So we're going to break it down 10 at a time for you guys so that it's not overwhelming. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each one, and then we're going to rearrange what we feel those 10 should be. And, of course, we want your opinions and your feedback on the brand new All Bets Are Off Twitter page. Not much going on yet because we just created it, but give it a follow. And, of course, like, rate, subscribe the actual show, and let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. And, of course, support the people that support us. So unchainedmuscle.uk. Our Vegas 20 saves you 20% at checkout. We got t-shirts, tank tops, leggings, shorts, shaker bottles, gym bags, hats, whatever you need. And, of course, the mental health charity section, which will donate to mental health charity if you purchase from that section. So let's dive back into this, and let's see what Chazz thinks of these top 10. And, of course, you know, we're the biggest hair metal guys going. Yeah, it doesn't matter that we were born in the late 80s. That just worked out. So let's get going. So, Chazz, thanks for joining us again. What is this, your third or fourth time?
Yeah, third, I believe.
Yeah.
This one's going to be different, though, because I interviewed you, and then we did a wrestling one. So now it's time for just opinions over music, which we have plenty of.
We do. And we should tell everybody, it's no secret to anybody who knows either one of us that this is our bag right here, the hair metal.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel, looking at this first beginning of the list, there was a lot I didn't know on this 10. From 40 on, I know mostly every album, but this one I had to dig and learn a few. So it's interesting for me to learn about these few bands. And then I think a lot of people out there are going to be like, who the hell is this band as well? Because this list, there's not a lot of big name bands.
No, Rolling Stone really dug down deep. For us, we probably know more than the average person because that was what we grew up listening to and going to see. I do have to point out before we even get going that Wasp was disqualified for being too heavy.
Okay.
And Guns N' Roses was disqualified for transcending the glam metal era, which Appetite came out in 87.
Right.
So it falls in there.
Yeah, and I don't know, I get it, because they'll be the first ones to say they're not hair metal, but looking over the list, and especially a couple of bands on this list we're working on today, there's a lot of Guns N' Roses ripoffs.
There are, which is why I don't understand why they're not included on the list, but I get it, they're bigger than hair metal, they never died out really.
Right.
They are probably the biggest band going right now.
Oh yeah, and Wasp is, I think I would still put Wasp in there, thinking of pure metal, you would not see Wasp on a tour with Slayer.
I agree, I totally agree.
I think Wasp should be it.
I think so too, and I also think that, maybe they looked harder than they actually were. And don't get me wrong, Wasp was heavy, but they looked ferocious and vicious, and I think that's what got them disqualified.
Yeah, so, it's a loss, but hey, the way I look at it is Rolling Stone did all the hard work for us.
Yes.
So we're just that's why we're doing, like you said, in segments, so 50 through 41, we're not going to rearrange the entire list.
Right.
We'll just take it in segments and we'll rearrange this list. And if it comes to a discrepancy, we're going to take all three, mine, yours, and the list, and get the average, and we'll put it where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. So I guess we can just get started here. And we should say, too, that at the end we are going to rearrange these 10 to what we think they should be, but we're not allowed to remove any albums.
Yes.
And we're not allowed to add in ones that we think should have been in the list.
Right. We can mention it.
Right.
But there's not going to be... So 50 through 41 are going to be the same albums. You can't throw one out. You can't move 41 up to 35.
Right.
So, to honor their list a little bit.
Right.
We'll keep it in those parameters. And I want to say, we're going to do our top 10s. I think we should guess what each other's number one will be.
Yes.
Right now. So what? So, it's not going to be a surprise. They'll know the albums when they come. So what I think you're going to pick for your number one album is Mr. Big, Lead Into It.
Okay. And I would say for you, I would say Winger.
Winger is going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, so we shall see.
And I think you also said that you wanted to, in true hair metal fashion, decide what out of these 10 albums was our favorite ballad.
That's right. Yeah, I also wanted to do... So what I wanted to do is, on each album, I want to give a recommendation to you guys to listen to from each of us, because we have different tastes. So, in case you don't know some of these bands, which you probably won't if I didn't know a lot of them,
right.
I dig a little deeper. It gives you a chance to listen to a song, and then out of the whole group, we're going to pick one ballad each.
Yes.
To say that's the go-to ballad.
Yes, absolutely.
Their music rocked a generation.
I think people were living in the moment. It was a great time. It was an exciting time.
It was just magic.
I want to rock!
From one strip, they stormed the planet.
The world is your oyster.
These guys worked really hard. They got really famous. They got lots of money.
All of a sudden, you're 21 years old. You got $1 million.
Playing power chords of debauchery and decadence.
Every excess you could possibly think of was not only available, but encouraged and accepted.
Well, since we're getting rolling here, I do got to say it may surprise even you to know that in this 10 that we're doing today, I did listen to most of these pretty much on a daily basis anyway.
That's what you say? No, I can't say the same thing, man. I can't say the same thing.
There was a few, though, and we did refresh ourselves. We did listen to all of these albums.
Absolutely.
So within the last 2 days, we went through every one of these 10 albums.
We'll have more time next time.
Yeah, we took 2 days and blitzed through these, even the ones that we're super familiar with, just to refresh and say, oh yeah, just in case I forgot about how great this song was or whatever.
Absolutely.
And I have the full list here. So let's get going. So number 50, we're going to count backwards from 50 to 1. Today we stop at 41, of course, is Lord Tracy, Deaf Gods of Babylon. And this came out in 1989. And I'm going to let you take this one at first. So
I'd never heard of it. I'm not going to lie. You guys will notice, like, anything 89, 90, 91, it's like, I've probably never heard of it or listened to it. I look at that as post Guns N' Roses, and it's a lot of the same stuff. It's a lot of the same bands stuck between trying to beat Guns N' Roses and Bon Jovi. And they don't know where they are. And they're sitting out there kind of glammy, but they're wearing Undertaker hats at the same time, and they don't know what they're doing. So,
yeah, right.
You'll find as we get into the list, there'll be some bands that people like that I really don't. But Lord Tracy gave it a listen. I was freaking surprised by this album. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and you know what? So did I. I wasn't super familiar with them. I had a song or two on a playlist, but other than that, I'd never listened to a full album ever.
Yep.
And I went through and listened to this one twice because absolutely. I did enjoy it.
Me too. Like, I'd never heard of them. And going through the album, it's a fun album.
Yeah.
It's super fun. It was like, it laughed. Sure, there's some politically incorrect stuff on it, but that's not what this is about. I mean, that's 80s rock for you. There's a lot of that stuff. There's some real heavy songs. There's goofy songs. There's blues songs. Like, it's just a fun listen for me.
For sure.
I will definitely listen to it again and again. It's, I'm not going to give it away, but it's higher up on my list than 50. I'll tell you that much.
And now, was there a song that jumped out?
My favorite song on the whole album was I think it was the last song. It was called Piranha.
Yeah.
It sounded like it could have been a Slayer song.
Yeah.
It was so heavy, but the words were so stupid. It just made me laugh. I listened to that song at least 5 times because I loved it so much. And I actually learned the guitar part.
Did you really?
Yeah, because it was such a cool song. What was the one that stuck out for you?
There was a couple. The first one I really liked was East Coast Rose. I liked that a lot. I thought She's a Bitch was just...
That was a fun song.
That was just a fun song. In Your Eyes and Rats Motel stuck out to me.
Rats Motel stuck out to me a lot.
Yeah, that one reminded me of a different band, but I can't really put my finger on it. It was
almost like a mix between like Rat and Faster Pussycat. Like I couldn't
but it's hard to say because if all those glam bands had a similar sound anyway.
Yeah.
So to say that it reminded me of another band is probably just kind of foolish, but
and especially maybe it's because it's Rats Motel. It's making me think of Rat.
Yeah, right.
There was just something.
I thought of Great White, Old Rose Motel.
Okay. I don't know. This album to me just jumped out, and like when we first started, I looked at the list of bands. I'm like, I didn't know 3 of these bands, and I listened to this one first, and it like really like amped me up, and I was like excited. I was like, wow, because I know a lot of hair metal, so to discover something that I'd never heard before, was just awesome to me. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. I pushed it up on my list. I want to thank Rolling Stone for pointing it out to me.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I do question some of their other choices, but I enjoyed this one. And, even Foolish Love was good.
Oh, it's a goofy, fun album.
It is.
There's weird, like that, after that metal song I'm talking about, there's just like a weird piano. Like,
yes.
It's just such a goofy album. It was really fun. It's not a serious listen. But a little bit of trivia. and I know you don't know this. The lead singer of this band forgot his name, whatever. Doesn't matter.
I do know this.
Is the lead singer of what band first?
Pantera.
He was the original singer of Pantera, and there's early hair metal albums with like Nothing On But the Radio and Metal Magic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually have those albums.
Okay.
Because I think they're cool. I think they're funny. They're fun to listen to because what that band was him and the Pantera band.
Yes.
Still
Yeah.
Phil, or not Phil, sorry, but still Dime and Vinny and
Yeah.
Rex. So then eventually they replaced him with Phil.
Right.
And then they did one hair metal album with Phil, and then they are the Pantera we all know.
Right,
So I
of
think
course.
that's an interesting thing, and I learned that, and it's funny, like I said, because I actually have those albums. I never knew this guy
That
went
this
to
was the
another
same,
band.
yeah. And I think it's fair to point out, too, or at least I think we should, that we keep saying it's a fun and funny album, but a lot of these songs are serious songs, and they are very good.
Yes.
You know?
Not fun and funny and goofy like Guar would be.
Yeah, like not hilarious, but
Yeah.
it's just a good time. Which
just-
embodies what hair metal was supposed to be.
And that's why looking at it, it is a good way to kick off this list. I just think it's better than a lot of these songs.
I
A lot
do
of these
too.
albums.
I do too.
We'll have to see where they push up.
Yes. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next one, which is Mr. Big, Lean Into It, which was actually released in 1991. If you don't mind, I'm going to take this one to start, because this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Mr. Big, Lean Into It is just... I have no words for how good it is. Billy Sheen on bass, and of course he's a local guy for us, which is always fantastic. But I'm looking through the track listing right now, and there's not a song on here that I say, well, I skip that one usually. Like, I put this CD on, or record, or whatever, and that's it. I can listen to the whole thing, top to bottom. What do you think?
Well, you're right about that, because I seen Mr. Big like 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm just like looking at the song list here. 5, 6 of these songs they're still playing in concert.
Yeah.
Like, this is a killer album, and like bringing up like Guns N' Roses from earlier, like. This isn't Mr. Big's debut, I know, but a lot of people want to say that, like, Appetite for Destruction is the greatest hair metal album of all time. I don't think so, man. This could be up there for me.
I think so, too. And I think a lot of people forget that Mr. Big can be really heavy.
Yes.
Because, of course, they're known for To Be With You, which is fine because it's a great song.
Candidate for the ballad of the list.
100% candidate, yeah. And if you think about it, Eric Martin's voice...
Oh, he's not well. Let's be fair. Eric Martin's voice is great, but the thing about Mr. Big, which a lot of people don't notice, I guess, unless you see them live, is all of them sing.
Yes.
All of them sing.
Yes.
They do spots in their shows where they do like an a cappella thing between the 4 of them.
Yeah.
All hitting different harmonies, and like it is so awesome.
Yeah.
And recently they lost their drummer in the past couple of years, which was sad, but they still, went on.
They did. They
kept
did.
doing what
And they
they
did
had
do
to
a
do.
final tour with him.
They did. And they, even after he got real sick, but even after he was sick and couldn't play drums anymore, they still brought him on tour. So if you watched, there's like a DVD out or a Blu-ray out, and there's a different drummer playing drums, Matt Starr, and the Pat Torpy's off on the side, right next to him with a little kid, shaking maracas, singing, doing all he can to be a part of the band.
Absolutely.
Which I think was super awesome that they did that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's fair to say Paul Gilbert is one of your favorite guitar players of all time.
Paul Gilbert is, in my opinion, the greatest guitar player of all time. So it's sad to think, everyone at home, that after listening to this, you won't hear a better guitar player the rest of this
for the rest of the list.
but that's obviously that's my opinion. But he is just he blows me away, and he's somebody I got into in my older age. I didn't necessarily like him when I was a kid, but as I became a better guitar player, more of an adult, more of a musician, I realized how incredible he was.
Oh, I think that's the same for, all of us. Well, all of us who listen to hair metal as we get older, because again, like we were born in the mid to late 80s, respectively. So as we're growing up, hair metal was still around and then began fading out. But for whatever reason, it was a huge part of our lives, and we kept it that way. So an album like this, I probably didn't hear this album until I was like 8, 9, 10. I remember getting it for a birthday or Christmas or something, and right off the bat, I can tell you, like, Just Take My Heart jumps out at me. I remember listening to that a bunch. Everybody Knew To Be With You. If you watched MTV at any period in the early 90s, you saw that video.
Well, and that's the problem with the 2 songs from 2 different bands, To Be With You and More Than Words from Extreme. They're sick, awesome bands.
In black and white.
Black and white, only people know those songs.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, it gives Paul Gilbert a bad rap, I think, because he didn't even write that song. That's an Eric Martin, just acoustics on the porch song, not taking anything away from it.
No, not at all.
We have probably played it more than they have in our lives.
All the time.
But it's just one of those songs that, out of everybody, that band should not be known for a friggin' guitar strumming, picking and grinning song.
Well, that's true, but those guys would never say that. I hear interviews with them, and they love that song.
I heard them say. I heard Eric and Billy say that that's their favorite song to play live.
Yep, that's the same interview I'm probably thinking of.
It was with Chris Jericho.
With Chris Jericho,
yep.
Yes. And of course, my favorite song on this album is a toss-up between either Daddy, Brother, Lover, Little Boy, or Green Tinted 60s Mine.
I gotta agree, but I gotta go with Daddy, Brother, Lover, Little Boy.
What a way to kick off an album!
Jeez.
Oh my God!
Like it really shows Paul and Billy, and the drummer and the vocals and everybody. It's called the Electric Drill Song because he does the guitar solo with the drill, and it's like, actually, to be honest, it's not that impressive.
Right.
The stuff he does in Green Tinted 60 Mine, guitar-wise, is way better.
I agree.
The stuff he does in Just Take My Heart is awesome too, but like, it's just such a punch in the face. Get going, rock out, have a good time, and watch Billy and Paul go nuts.
Yeah, and I think that it was an interesting choice, since we're talking about how the album kicked off. I thought it was interesting to end the album with such a ballad.
Their biggest song
ever. Biggest song ever. But they didn't know it was going to be their biggest song ever. But the fact that they ended the album with that, I thought was really interesting.
Do you think they didn't know? I mean, this is 1991. This is after all of the success of all the big ballads. Like, this was the end.
Yeah.
Like, this is the end. They were like the last of the... And them and Warren are like the last of the hair bands.
Firehouse,
Yeah, so that's like the end of the hair bands. And
and by then the formula was there. You were the bad boys of rock, but you had that soft side, so you needed to have your power ballad.
Or do you think Just Take My Heart was supposed to be the one?
And I was just going to say, To Be With You to me is not a power ballad.
There's no... Yeah, right. I never said power ballad. I just...
But that's what the hair bands were known for. So if we're going by the formula that works, I would think that Just Take My Heart would have been that song.
But to be fair, is like Every Rose Has a Thorn a power ballad?
Very true.
It's not...
That's very true.
There's no just story. I guess it's just...
There is.
Yeah.
The solo kicks in with a classic hair metal solo.
Yeah.
I don't feel like To Be With You has one of those.
To Be With You has a much more difficult guitar solo. I'll tell you that much as someone that's trying to play it.
It's great.
It's
solo.
beautiful.
Great solo. I feel like we could spend an hour just talking about Mr. Big.
I agree. We maybe in the future we'll do a Mr. Big podcast because, the history of Mr. Big, they were pun intended, big. Paul left the band. They replaced him with Richie Kotzen, and those couple albums were great too. And then they broke up, and Paul came back, and those albums are great.
That Richie Kotzen, man, he just made his rounds.
He is great, though. He's a very underrated.
He's a great musician, but I've heard some bad stories.
Yes. To quote, who says it? Baby, Poison. Baby gets around a bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Was it Bret Michaels that said, I threw his bag over a fence and never saw him again? So, moving on.
We'll tell you that story later.
Yeah.
Folks.
So, number 48, I never heard of.
But this is better than Mr. Big Lean Into from Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone, who has now the guys, the rock gods that put, like Nicki Minaj on their cover. Rolling Stone thinks this album is better than Mr. Big To Be With You.
Before we even say what it is, did you know this album?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so this is by a band called Precious Metal.
Who?
Exactly. Came out in 1985. It's called Right Here, Right Now, and it is 5 women. So here's the thing. I listened to the whole thing. I did. Against my better judgment, I listened to this whole album from beginning to end. And I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it.
To me, I'll give it its due for the sense of, like, it was before everything else.
Yeah.
If you look at the time, 1985, it's before Vixen, it's before Lita Ford got big.
Right.
It's after the Runaways, but it seems like it's a lost album. It seems like, 85 is still early.
It is.
Poison just came out.
Poison did just come out. No, they did.
Yeah, okay.
Or 85 or 86. So, look at the cat track.
So this is early. So to be what it is, it sounds like they want it to be the Runaways and have, like, that glam sensibility, but, like, I just feel there's so many, like, if I wanted to listen to that, I'd listen to Runaways.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, too, is not trying to be harsh when I say I hated it, because there was a couple songs that I was like, this one's got a catchy hook, and I could see what they're going for. It just wasn't for me.
Right, we're not the target audience.
Yeah. I feel like the target audience for this album in 1985 was 13-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Like, look at the titles of these songs. This Girl, Pretty Boy, Girls Night Out, You Do Something Special, cheesecake. Like,
now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just like, honestly, it's not as bad as I wanted to pile on, just because it was so kind of raw, and there is some beauty in that.
I did realize that the mix itself was very raw, like,
but compared to something like Vixen,
right?
You could tell there's like that. These were just like raw girls getting out there, not necessarily no guidance and rock and roll. So there's some respect there.
I agree. But,
like, the standout track that I wrote down for this is Bad Guys.
Yeah, I did think that was...
This is goofy and fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's got some cool guitar.
And a cool hook.
Yeah.
It was catchy. I only hated it because I don't... When I think of the albums that they purposely left off of this list, that this one made it on, it just kind of made me mad, I guess. So it's not that I don't respect what these girls did, because I can appreciate it. And it is hair metal if you really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the cover, I mean, that's right in the wheelhouse. I think
And they were signed to Mercury Records, I mean...
I think what these girls were trying to be was maybe get their song in one of those movies, get on a soundtrack, and live in infamy, but they didn't.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it would be that Bad Guys song. Like, that's definitely the recommendation for me. If it is on Spotify. All these albums I found on Spotify, except Lord Tracy.
Yeah.
So all these you can find all these albums on Spotify, or you found them on what, Apple?
Yes.
Okay, so they're listenable. You know, you guys can make the decision for yourself. But to me, I feel, especially in this list, spoiler alert, there's 3 female artists and bands in this list. Mm-hmm. I feel like they got to the end of the list, was like, shit, we need to put some females up here. Precious Metal, throw them in there. The other 2 deserve to be in there, I think.
Yeah.
I think this one was forced.
Well, I think you're right, because this is what Rolling Stone had to say about it. I'm just going to read a bit of it. I didn't read any of this stuff in advance because I wanted to make my own opinions. Mm-hmm. But it says, maybe these 5 California girls from all over wouldn't count if they didn't have metal in their name. But hey, a major label, Mercury, which I said they were signed to Mercury, put their album out even if nobody bought it. And it was the 80s, so anything went. Girls' Night Out, want to do what the boys been doing for years. Is girl school glamabilly tough? I think that's not very tough, but but hey, they made the list, and this is probably the most fame they've gotten since the day that this record came out.
That's true. And, you know, when I was looking at their Spotify, they had a few more albums.
Yes, I checked too.
So they did keep going.
Yeah.
There's a couple bands on here I only saw 1 album from.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this was their debut album, so we don't know. Maybe they got better.
I listened to it a little bit. They got a little more, like, on the punky side, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
But, like, if people want to, like, find, it's not necessarily glam, but a female-driven punky band other than the Runaways, you guys got to check out the Donnas.
Yeah, for sure.
The Donnas are
for sure.
This band times 100.
Yeah,
way better.
I love the Donnas. Yeah, which you know.
So like, I like wanted to like it. I wanted it to be like the Donnas, but it's not.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw it, the cover's very cheesy. So, but at first I was like, "Well, it was 1985."
And you thought they were guys.
And I thought they were guys.
You never know.
Well, that's true too, because every glam guy band was dressed like women, and they, right down to the makeup. So really, it could have been either one, let's be honest. Poison, the look with the cat dragged in album cover does look like 4 straight females.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see where this ends up on the All Bets Are Off official list, but I'm guessing it's going to be up towards the 50s.
If we could take things off.
Honestly, there'd be a couple in this part. Yeah. Just to think, like, this is on there and not another Mr. Big album.
Or another Poison or another Motley Crue. Yeah. I mean,
in general, they're on there. There's one Mr. Big album.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like,
I know.
One. Yeah. And this is considered better than, like...
I even thought there should have been more Kiss albums. But... we'll talk about that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one, because you know how me and you are. So we will continue to talk about one album. The next one is Lita Ford. Lita, 1988. You kickstart this one off for us.
It's Lita Ford. She's a pioneer of rock, rockin' women.
For sure.
Teenager in the Runaways. This album, I knew the 2 big songs.
So you knew Kiss Me Deadly and Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy?
Yes.
Okay.
So if this is a case of, like, the rest of the album does not sound like that. This is a pretty heavy, good album at times.
Agreed.
I feel like it's there's like 10 songs, say 9 songs.
9 songs,
I feel like other than the 2 hits that knocks you down to 7, there's like 4 or 5 good songs.
Yeah.
Plus the hits, that gives about 7. Couple of clunkers.
Yeah. I thought that Can't Catch Me was pretty good.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah, for
Can't
sure.
Catch Me.
I didn't realize, obviously we've both listened to Lita Ford countless times in our life, but Can't Catch Me was one that I had forgotten about. So, and I had already had this album on my my hair metal playlist or whatever, but I don't generally listen to the whole album. So when I went through, I thought that Broken Dreams and Can't Catch Me were really good.
Yeah,
Blueberry was fun.
Yeah, it started off the first 4 songs.
Yeah,
Back to the Cave, Can't Catch Me is great. Blueberry's a fun song, and you gotta like Kiss Me Deadly.
Kiss Me Deadly is that perfect glam metal pop song.
That's what Precious Metal wish they wrote.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's what where Lita Ford already had that. This is Lita Ford's second album.
Yes.
And obviously, like I said, she was in the Runaways from the 70s.
Right.
So Joan Jett, they break off. Joan Jett's a megastar at this point.
Yeah.
And Lita had a first album that kind of didn't do so well. So for her to come out with this was incredible for her.
And I want to point out, too, some of the songwriting credits on this album. Can't Catch Me, Lemmy. Oh. Lemmy helped write Can't Catch Me. And Falling In and Out of Love, Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx.
So really take that in. So this, and of course, Close My Eyes Forever, Ozzy.
And she's probably sleeping with them all.
You can't say that. She's still touring and doing her thing.
Right. Did you read her book?
No, I didn't.
Read her book. And then get back to me. It's just basically like, hi, Lita Ford. Yeah, I did these drugs and banged these guys. And now she regrets that book. I read in an interview, but she's the one who wrote it.
Right.
So, but you know what?
That'd be like Motley Crue being like, we regret the Heroin Diaries and the Dirt.
The Dirt, yeah. So
I guess Heroin Diaries is more just Nikki Sixx,
yeah,
but you know what I mean.
He doesn't regret that.
No. And I'm sure they don't regret the Dirt after the movie.
Right.
We're getting off topic.
The thing to remember about Lita Ford, too, to give her some props, is she's a damn good guitar player.
She is.
She plays some great licks and some great leads on this album. She's better guitar player than I remembered. I kind of just remembered her being like a chuggy, like punk guitar player.
Yeah.
But she's not. That's Joan. Joan Jett.
Joan Jett is that, yeah.
And she has got some licks to her, and she's got some leads, and I actually seen her jam out at the Kiss convention. She's good, man. She still looks good for her age. She's doing what she wants to do, and props to her. She's awesome.
And in case, I don't remember if I said it or not, but this album did come out in 1988, and she'd already been a seasoned musician by now.
Oh, Christ, by this point, she was probably around 12 years.
Yeah.
Because she was like 16 when she started.
Right.
So, and Joan hit it big, like, 82, 83?
Yeah.
So Joan Jett was a mega star by this point.
Yep.
So, but I give her props. I'm happy she's on there. I'm happy that she put out a good album. She put out a classic album. A lot of people have this. And, just because I have so much respect for the Runaways.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it didn't come out to being just like a one-person show.
For sure.
It didn't just the Runaways out, that was just Joan Jett. No, it was Lita as well.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So good on them.
And then moving on to the next one, which is number 46, is Kick Tracy, No Rules. Right.
Who's that?
Right.
Who? One more time.
Kick Tracy.
So this is better than Mr. Big Lean Into It?
Well, I'll tell you, I love this album.
Did you?
I did. I thought that You're So Strange was awesome. The cover of Mrs. Robinson was really good.
It was different. It was goofy. And not like silly goofy. It was just the way they wrote, they changed it. It was like a goofy mix.
Now, here's one. I'm going to throw this curveball at you, is that I already had this album, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So I knew this one already.
All right.
And Big Western Sky and Soul Shaker. I love this album. They've never had another full-length album.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, again, and I don't care what Rolling Stone says, it's not better than Mr. Big Lean Into It.
I don't think it is either, but I will say that this is a kick-ass record.
See, to me, I did not enjoy this one.
Really?
I thought this was one of those just like Guns N' Roses lost almost bland rip-off bands. Not terribly. Not terribly.
Okay, so funny that you should say that, because I was actually going to say it makes me mad again that Guns N' Roses was disqualified, because I could hear Guns N' Roses in this album.
And his voice.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, to me...
I thought the same thing.
And I'm not a big Guns N' Roses fan. Send all the hate tweets towards me, folks. But, I am not a big Guns N' Roses fan, so... I just feel like someone who doesn't like that style, if I want to listen to that style, I'm not going to listen to Kick Tracy.
Well, see, now that makes more sense, because, I love Guns N' Roses.
You do.
So, of course, I love this album.
Yes. I'm surprised you heard of it, because I never heard of it. The track that stood out to me for this was Trash City.
Oh, Trash City's great.
I really did like that
Great,
song.
great.
Like, to me, it got higher up on my personal list because of that song.
Gotcha.
I thought that was a great song. I thought that song, like, redeemed the album.
Gotcha. Okay.
I really did. And I find that I like this better than some of the bands that we're going to find ahead, like Faster Pussycat and stuff like that.
We're going to have some discussion about that.
When we get to that. Or, like, Trickster. Like,
Right.
I think this is better than that, but I don't like that, so that's going to be pretty low on my list. It's going to upset you when we get to that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, like,
That's the beauty of me and you both
Right.
loving hair metal, is because there's so many different sounds within the genre. Even though they're the same sound, they're different, if that makes sense.
Hair metal is very similar to when we grew up with nu metal.
Agreed.
Like, nu metal is like drop D, Korn going crazy, and then Limp Bizkit rap rocking, and Kid Rock country, and
Right.
like all over the place.
And then
It's
Dope doing a combination
like
of all of it.
industrial, like,
Yeah.
and then this is the kind of same stuff. It's party rock. It's
Right.
heartbreaking,
Screeching
acoustic
guitars.
stuff. And then it gets bluesy, and
Yeah.
it gets a little country with like Bon Jovi towards the end and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's
And
all over.
don't get me wrong, like, this is metal. It is, and especially for that time period.
But to also compare those two, which maybe we'll do like a new metal album show eventually.
Yeah.
They're very predicated on fashion.
Oh, for sure.
So both
For sure.
of those are very predicated on fashion.
Agreed.
So that's why I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah. The fashion, the screechy guitars, the bad boy ballads, it's all under the same umbrella. They do sound similar, but they also all sound different. How many times have you heard a hair metal band, you know who it is right away?
Right.
But somebody who isn't as into it as we are, they all sound the same.
Right. And but to be fair, as I was saying, there is a lot of bands that sound the same.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
you even said they try to sound like Guns N' Roses.
For sure. This band specifically, Kick Tracy, and the album's called No Rules, and I don't know if I said it, so I'll say it again, came out in 1991. Late.
Again.
And 4 years after Appetite for Destruction, so there's plenty of time to be influenced by Guns N' Roses.
This is almost after Use Your Illusion. It might be after.
It might be after, because Gunners didn't last very long
No.
that first time around.
No, they didn't.
The original anyway.
Yes.
But I think that this album holds up today, especially for Guns N' Roses fans, so I'm going to recommend it to any of our listeners who are Guns N' Roses fans to check out Kick Tracy, and that's KIKTRACEE. No Rules. It's their only album. They have an EP, but this is their only full-length album. And I think it holds up. I really do. I think it sounds great.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm sure it was a painful listen for you.
Not the worst. I'll let you know it's not number 50
Gotcha.
on my list.
Gotcha.
So that if that gives you makes you feel any better.
Well, let's keep cruising. Next, number 45, we have Pretty Boy Floyd with Leather Boys with Electric Toys from 1989. I love this album.
Dude, I went into this, let me tell you, like when I was like, I listened to this actually today, and I was like, I actually listened to it last because I, for some reason, had this in my head that this band sucks. I don't know why. I put on the headphones, I was actually mowing the lawn. I fucking love this album.
And see, earlier when we said we weren't going to talk about anything, but you said there was an album that caught you by surprise, I immediately knew it was this one.
This one.
Because the last time we talked about Pretty Boy Floyd, I was telling you how much I enjoyed whatever song it happened to be, and you were like, I don't listen to them.
Nope, I don't, because there was something in my head that I didn't like them. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even an opinion about their music. It was just like a misconception I had that I didn't like them.
Yeah.
That there's something about them I didn't like. I was wrong. This is a fucking great album.
It is a fantastic album. I can't say enough good things about this album. I almost fell out of them for a little while because I had we're going to keep it clean here, but I had with one of the band members, I had an exchange that wasn't so pleasant, and we got into it a little bit, and it almost ruined them for me. But I was like, the other three guys are probably pretty cool, and I still dig this album, and I listen to it all the time.
So you were a groupie and he never called you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, something like that.
get over it.
What stood out to you?
Oh, I thought the best song of the whole album was Your Mama Won't Know.
That's a great tune.
Oh,
Great tune.
There's something about it. It was so fun. It's just a fun song.
Mm-hmm.
It's punky, but it's got like a 1950s melody to
For
it
sure.
at the same time. It reminds me of like the Misfits.
Yeah.
Like completely reminds me of the Misfits, and I'm a big punk fan. But like every song on this album, I thought was great.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, one of them, like I think it was a ballady one. I could have lived without. To me, this is not a ballad band.
They're really not, but you know what, though? I Want to Be With You might be in contention for the top ballad that I want people to listen to when we're done talking about this. Okay. That was the song that introduced me to this album. Okay. So I heard that, and I was like, wow, these guys are really good. But then once you get into it, I think I can't even pick a standout song because Rock and Roll's Gonna Set the Night on Fire is so good.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the title track, Leather Boys with Electric Toys.
48 Hours was great.
48 Hours.
Dude,
Wild Angels.
Dude, it's really such a good album. To me, it's almost like a punk album.
Yeah.
And not, not in the sense of like speed, but like there are so many choruses of like chanting and whoa-whoas and big choruses.
Catchy hooks.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Rock and Roll Outlaws and Only the Young, too. We pretty much talked about every song now.
Dude, it's
so I guess we're just gushing over this album.
This album blew me away. I can't believe how good it was. Again, thank you to Rolling Stone for putting it on there. You know, is it better than Mr. Big Lean Into It? We'll find out. We'll find out where it ends up on my list.
I do got to say, this album specifically, though, I do listen to this album quite often. Yeah. So this was, for me, I didn't even need to go back and listen to it. I did, because it gave me an excuse to. But I think Pretty Boy Floyd is probably one of the most underrated bands to come out of the glam scene.
I already
1989.
I already have to agree. Like you did, I remember you telling me about that. I was like, I don't know, I don't really listen to them, and I regret it.
Yeah,
I wish I had more of them in my life to this point.
You know what it was? Is me and your brother were talking about how good they were. Okay, and you were like, absolutely not.
You know, and I don't, and I think I was honest. I don't listen to them. There's something about them I don't like. I don't know what it was. I don't know where my misconception came from.
I think we should point out, too, again, that there is a cover on this album. Toast of the Town is a Motley Crue song. And they did a great job. They did a great job.
First of all, I didn't even know it was a Motley Crue song.
No?
No?
Okay.
And they must have did a great job because I loved the album because it was a great album. That's a deep cut.
It is.
And I was looking at their, when I was listening, I listened to more of their stuff on Spotify. They have a live album from a few years ago. They do a bunch of these songs live, and they do some covers. They did It's Still Rock and Roll to Me from Billy Joel.
I've heard that.
And they did the Ace of Spades from Motorhead.
Yeah.
So to me, I love the album. Definitely recommendation. Definitely recommend it.
For sure.
Definitely recommend. Your Mama Won't Know. One of the best songs I heard.
Yeah, we've honestly mentioned every song on this record at this point because there's not one bad song on this record. I think that I don't know if they just caught a lot of flack or they came too late in the scene. I really don't know. Yeah. But they should have been bigger.
Yes.
Obviously, they were big enough because they did have some hits. But
you know what? They weren't going to be bigger. Not only were they late, they're the outlier on this list. I don't know if they're a hair metal band. They certainly look it.
No, they have that hair metal sound.
Some of this stuff. It's literally almost a punk album.
See, I was thinking more is I can definitely hear the hair metal in it. It's got a very poppy edge.
Yes.
But it's almost like a southern blues sometimes with some of the way that they do it.
The pace of it, the choruses, the big hooks, like it reminds me of like a pop punk album. At the same time.
Yeah.
And this is before that. Or after that at the same like the 80s punk scene wasn't much.
No.
So this is going into the 90s, but like I don't know, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And I just had a feeling when you told me one caught you off guard that was the one. Because it's so good. It just is. You can't deny it once you listen to it.
So you didn't think I would like kick Tracy?
No.
Yeah.
No.
He knows me, folks.
Yeah, that was me all day. All day. So moving on, though. So that was number 45. So
we're halfway through.
44, obviously, is going to stand out to me and you for obvious reasons, because it's Lick It Up from Kiss, which came out in 1983.
Yes.
I have too much to say, so you start.
Okay, so Kiss Lick It Up, we should preempt it by it's the first album without makeup.
Yes.
Got Unmasked. Unmasked still had makeup.
Right.
They probably could have waited to use that name, but whatever. Right. We'll move on.
Although, check out what they did to the cover here. They did put the makeup on.
Oh, they put the makeup on that cover.
Yeah.
This is the first album with, and only album with Vinnie Vincent on guitar.
The only credited.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But go ahead.
So it's the first technical album without Ace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. To me, I like this album, but if we're going to be honest, it's my least favorite Kiss album.
Same.
Oh,
okay,
nice. That's
why I said I had a lot to say. I'm talking every Kiss album ever.
There's
Lick It Up.
33, I think.
Lick It Up is my least favorite. Yes. And that's not to say I don't enjoy certain songs or the album in general. It's just, it's not Kiss to me. And if you're going to put Kiss on a glam metal list, I would like to see Asylum in its place.
Asylum is 1,000,000 times better than this.
So I don't understand how that would make it. Animalize, Crazy Nights.
Is better than this. Hot in the Shade.
Hot in the Shade, yeah. So I was going to mention all this. I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say I'd like to see one of those in this one's place.
Yes, absolutely. Because to me, it's not the best Kiss album of that era by any stretch of the imagination.
Not even close.
There is not everybody knows "Lick It Up." Everybody knows that song.
Well, I was going to say, is it the biggest hit as far as one song goes?
Out of all those 80s,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Because that's probably why.
Unless you're going to argue Forever.
I would think Forever would be bigger.
Between those two, but hey, that's
which is where I was going with that. But
Forever, I guess, did chart more.
Yeah.
But we just saw them 2 weeks ago. Did they play Lick It Up?
Yeah.
They absolutely did.
They did.
So that, to me, like, Lick It Up right now is, like, bigger than it ever was.
I think this was a monumental album just because they took the makeup off. And I honestly think...
And Lick It Up's a big...
It is, but I honestly think that is why this album is on
But
here.
think of what personifies the 80s. The sleaziness, the sexualness. Like, that's Lick It Up.
Yeah.
That whole song. The innuendo.
Right.
So, like, that's Lick It Up. To me, I would take any album in the 80s over this one. I mean, and that's including... Okay, maybe not Music from the... That's close to the bottom to me. Those are the two worst. But I would take Unmasked over this.
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
This isn't a Kiss podcast.
Well, that's the problem with this one being number 44 is we, being the giant Kiss fans that we are, have so much to say about it.
But what's the standout track for you?
Lick It Up.
Lick It Up is your standout track?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
mean...
Dude, 1,000,000 to 1.
I knew you were going to say that one.
That is one of Paul Stanley's masterpieces. And you know he's one of my favorite. He's my favorite.
He is. If I had to pick a runner-up, I was going to say On the Eighth Day. I think that's a good song.
Yeah, some of these Gene songs are so corny on this album.
Well, Gene sometimes does have the corniest songs. For being the most badass guy in Kiss, he does go very corny sometimes.
This is where Gene started to slip away.
That's true.
Because to me, this song...
The 80s weren't good to Gene.
Well, this had what? Fits Like a Glove. That's a good song.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of concept. And All Hell's Breaking Loose. You know, it to me, Give Me More is a great song, too. I forgot about that. And Exciter. All the Paul Stanley songs.
Paul is always on point. Paul is an underrated musician for as much as he's praised. Sometimes he's not praised for the right things. Does that make sense?
Well, they're praised for his stage raps.
Right.
Young and Wasted's a good song. But, like, you just need to, like... If you guys are going to listen to this, Look It Up, okay. And then if that's your standout track, great. It's a great song. But, like, 1,000,000 to 1, any other of those Paul songs... But I think 1,000,000 to 1 could have been a hit in that time. It's almost a power ballad. I'm not going to put it. It's not in contention for ballad of the thing. It's not a ballad. It's a rocker, I think. I was a little upset that this was the only Kiss album.
I was too, especially because we just rattled off all the other ones that could have been in this one's place. If you were only going to go with one Kiss record...
You know what? This is our list. Let's kick it off and put another Kiss one in.
Asylum.
I agree. 100 times.
Asylum.
King of the Mountain, All Night.
All Night, yeah.
Tears Are Falling. Fantastic song.
Yeah.
Any way you slice it. Kiss Asylum, that was like, 2 albums after this one?
Yeah.
Take it out, put this in there instead, you guys won't regret it. We're the Kiss experts.
I agree. But when we do put, our 50 to 41 together, we will keep Look It Up in there. But I'm still going to suggest that if you're going to go with one Kiss album to be on this list of 50, it shouldn't have been this one.
And I don't understand why it's Look It Up and not Asylum. I mean, Tears Are Falling was just as big of a hit at the time.
I thought Asylum would more fit the glam mold.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the album cover. Look at the videos.
Exactly.
You guys want to have a laugh?
The colors.
Watch any video from Asylum.
And then listen to All Night.
And just watch it. Like, Who Wants to Be Lonely? That video?
Yeah.
Oh my, he's dancing around in a purple sequin outfit in a warehouse.
I did introduce Miss Vegas to some of those songs on Asylum on the way to the Kiss show.
Yeah.
And, she was digging it.
It's a great album.
It's a great album.
Dude, Bruce Kulick murders it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All Bets Are Off alone, Bruce Kulick.
Yeah.
Murders it on that album. And Eric Carr's drumming, the beginning of King of the Mountains, half of the reason I became a drummer in my early years.
And that was one of the first records I ever had, was Asylum.
Mine too, so maybe that's why it means more to us, but maybe. I don't think so.
And I said record, and I meant record. Yeah, and I don't mean a pressed re-release of vinyl. I'm talking the original Asylum record.
Well, I have both now. Okay.
You do have both now. Funny enough, though, when I did first get that on vinyl, it was probably only like 8 years old. So it wasn't an old vinyl when I got it.
Just look it up. It is what it is. I don't think it should be on this list, but we have to put it in there, and we'll have to see where it ends up on the final list.
If you're only going to go with one Kiss record, that's not the one.
I completely agree.
So let's roll on to number 43, which is Vixen's self-titled from 1988. I'm going to kick this one off because I love this record.
I was surprised by this record.
Were you?
I only knew...
That you liked it?
Yes.
Okay.
I liked it. I only knew, what is it, Edge of the Broken Heart?
Oh, what a song, though.
Yeah, but that's all I knew.
Yeah.
So, I was expecting a little more of that pop garbage. Not garbage, but you know what I mean.
Well, you just got done listening to Precious Metal.
Ugh.
So...
It seemed like fluff. And then I did know Crying upon for listening, and I like that better. But those songs sounded to me like it's like, all right, go try to be Heart. Go try to be Heart. You guys are chicks, and, Heart's the biggest band in the world. 1987, 1988. The rest of the album, I mean, I like those songs. The rest of the album was really good. I was really surprised.
Yeah, for sure.
It was not generic. She's screaming her heart out. Some of those guitar riffs I was very surprised by, because I never think of them as a guitar band. It really impressed me, this album.
So this album was another one that I listened to pretty frequently. I do have it on my playlist and stuff like that. I would say, before I tell you mine, what was your standout track?
The standout track for me was, I can't remember off the top of my head, I have it written down, was Love Made Me.
Oh, what a good... Yeah, that's a good choice.
Great riffs, like everything. Yeah. Not riffs, not that one. That's not the riff song. That's like that's the pure 80s glam song.
That one is, yeah.
It's not overly corny, but it has its corniness.
It does.
And that's what...
But all of them did.
Yes. But, like, overdoing it on Edge of the Broken Heart. Like, Edge of the Broken Heart is something you could listen to on soft rock radio.
For sure.
And same thing with, not even Crying, because Crying's got such, like, a riff, a change to it, where the rest of the album is just a good hard rocking album. It sounded like it should be almost Tesla.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Honestly,
I'll give you that.
Like, it sounded like it was like a Tesla album in disguise. Because she sounds similar to it when she's out there screeching. And I'm not the biggest Tesla fan. I think I actually like this more than some of the Tesla stuff I've heard.
Really?
Okay. I was really impressed with this album. And I'm a fan of female vocalists. I've always been. So it's something I like, and I never gave this album a chance, and I'm glad I did.
I have a feeling we're going to come across that a lot in this 50 for both of us, but because certain bands I'll only listen to a song or two, but then I see the albums on here that are ranked pretty high, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should.
And now we're forced to give it a chance.
Exactly. Especially for us who've been listening to this stuff for so long that it's hard to. It's not like we're going to find new ones.
Right.
So to go back,
We've heard of Poison 9 billion times.
I've only seen them live 15 times.
Yeah.
So my standout track on this, if I was going to tell somebody to listen to Vixen and you'll really get into them, I would say listen, I Want You to Rock Me. Oh my God, what a song. Like, that song is an anthem. I love this song. I cannot say enough good stuff about this song. Like, this is on my gym playlist, and when I'm working out and I'm getting ready for a big match, like, this song comes on and I just want to just lift. Like, I love this tune.
Oh, do you feel masculine saying that?
Yes. Yeah. It just kicks, and it just gives you that, like, burst of, like, what we always think about hair metal when we go to these concerts.
That should have been track one.
It should have been. I agree.
They put Edge of the Broken Heart because that's the one they were pushing.
Yeah, of course.
I usually find a lot of these songs that I pick are almost track one.
Yeah.
Because they're some of the best songs on the album. Usually, even when I press my albums, I try to put my favorite song as track one.
When you think of hair metal, you think of getting amped up, and it just, like, gives you that burst of energy and whatever, and that's what I Want You to Rock Me is.
Yeah.
I
thought this album totally changed my perception on the band. It had nothing to do with that they were women. The songs that I knew, I didn't like Edge of the Broken Heart that much. But the rest, like, I like it. I'll sing it along. It's fun. But the rest of the album is just killer. Killer.
Oh, yeah. Excellent album. And then moving on to number 42 was a band called DAD, which at one time stood for Disneyland After Dark.
Who?
Exactly. This is one that I did not know.
This is also the worst name of an album.
No Fuel Left for the Pilgrims.
What the hell is that?
I don't know, but it came out in 1989. I didn't hate it.
I did.
I just didn't love it.
I hated it.
It was tough to get through the whole thing.
It really was. It just dragged on.
It dragged on. That's what I was looking for.
It dragged on forever. It was like, how much are you guys trying to sound like Guns N' Roses?
Yeah, that was another one of those. But at the same time, though, there were certain songs that I was just like, why? Like, Girl Nation. When I listened to that song...
Lost. If that's Lost in that album.
I did not know what was happening.
They were trying to be Poison.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
So they're trying to do Guns N' Roses, and then they're throwing in the trying to be Poison song. This band, to me, I hated this album. I'm telling you right now, I'm never going to listen to this album again.
Well, here's the thing about this one, is, like you, I had no idea who this was, and they had a cool look. So I was like, oh, awesome.
For 89, it's different.
Yeah.
It looks like more of the 90s look.
So when it first...
They got the bull skull.
Right. So when I first started listening, I was like, okay, first song started kicking. And then I'm like, well...
That's my pick, by the way.
The first song.
The first song. I thought the first song
it was the best one.
There's some good riffage in there. It's catchy. It gave me a little hope.
Yeah. I thought Lords of the Atlas was interesting.
We didn't say the name of the first song.
Oh, we didn't. Oh, Sleeping My Day Away.
Sleeping My Day Away is my pick. Sorry.
I agree. I think it's the best track. I thought that Point of View was decent, and I thought Lords of the Atlas was interesting. But it was hard for me to not skip tracks.
Yes.
The deeper I got into this album. But for purposes of doing this podcast, I did listen to all of it.
Legitimate struggle for me to listen to this.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be over.
Like I said, I didn't exactly hate it, but I also didn't think that it was anything really good. Like, I can tell these guys could know what they were doing, but they just didn't do it.
Right, and it's that late 80s.
Yeah.
Like, they were kind of lost. Like they from afar, it looks like a mix. It kind of looks like it could be a country cover of the album, like a country band.
That's true.
It's like they don't know what the hell they were doing, and it's just that time frame. And like I said, there's so many of those bands that got lost in trying to be Guns N' Roses, but trying to be Bon Jovi at the same time. And it's like this band threw in trying to be, I don't know, Stevie Ray Vaughan too. To me, I did not like this album. I recommend the one song, "Sleeping My Day Away." But guys, do yourselves a favor, don't listen to this.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much left to say about that one, so we're just going to move on to number 41.
Just throw that one in the garbage. And by the way, it's better than Mr. Big Lean Into It.
Yeah.
Shut up, Rolling Stone. Go list Arcade Fire as the greatest hair metal album ever or something.
Well, let's go with number 41, which is the final album we're going to talk about today.
The one you chose that you think I am going to leave this at number one.
Yes, it came out in 1988, self-titled Winger. This is one of my favorite albums of all time, yeah.
To me, I like Winger.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. I like the second album a lot better than this.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one, to me, is a good album, of course.
Yeah.
I don't dislike this album. The standout song that I put for me is Hungry.
Really?
I like that song a lot. Like, everybody knows 17.
Yeah.
And everyone knows Madeline.
Yes, that's my standout song.
It's a great song, too.
Yeah.
Hungry was the second track after that?
Hungry is, yeah.
That's a great... It's heavy...
I think that Madeline was the first, or not the first, the best way to start this album, though. It just kicks it off. I love the vocals.
You'd have to go with either Madeline or Hungry. Yeah, but Madeline's the right one.
Yeah.
They did the cover of Purple Haze, which is interesting.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's a good cover.
Yeah.
Now Winger is actually, like, people make fun of the Beavis and Butthead, But Winger's a killer band.
They really are.
Kip Winger didn't come out of nowhere. He was the bass player of Alice Cooper throughout the 80s.
Right.
He's a singer, he's a bass player. He happened to be quite handsome.
Isn't that how it goes?
Reb Beach is an incredible guitar player.
Oh, for sure.
Like, very underrated. Like, we say Paul Gilbert's underrated. Reb Beach is very underrated.
Yeah, we've seen him before, too, live.
Killed it.
And he was amazing.
Killed it.
We should probably mention that as we go through this list, we've seen all of these bands.
I have not seen DAD.
Well, I was going to say, all of these bands. Well, most of these bands a bunch of times, but
and not Precious Metal.
A lot of these guys trade musicians back and forth too. So some of the guys,
especially with rhythm section,
right?
You look at the hair metal. It's all about singer and guitar. And that's all it is. Every band, once we get into the bigger bands, they'll have an iconic singer, they'll have an iconic guitar player.
For sure.
Until you get the bigger bands like Motley Crue, everybody.
You know everybody, right?
But Winger is such a good band. But to me, their second album is so much better. And I wish that, I don't know. It could be on the list in the future. But to me, Winger 2, was it In the Heart of the Young? I think it's called.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a better album for me for them. They have their bigger hits, Miles Away, Can't Get Enough.
Yeah.
In the Day You'll Never See. I know 17's one of their biggest hits.
I'd say it is the biggest hit.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I also have memories of In the Heart of the Young coming out because I'm a little older than you. I remember being alive. They were big. I remember them being big with that album.
Well, it came out after this album, was 1988.
Yeah, so I think it was like 91, 92, and I remember I have memories of, not me, but my brother had a VHS tape of Winger, and to me, this album is super good. It's a good release. It's not bad by any means. I just like the second one better. I feel they crafted themselves better. They put in a better ballad.
Yeah.
Miles Away is a great song.
Would you say that Headed for Heartbreak, which is off of the album that we're talking about right now, is a contender for...
I forgot about Headed for Heartbreak. I didn't even mention that.
Because that's another one of their hits from this album.
Yeah, that's a good hit too. I forgot about that one. That is a great song.
That's a contender.
It's contender. It's a contender.
Just a plug for myself, growing up, I always loved Madeline, and now I think that song holds a little more water for me at the moment. So it's funny how stuff like that works out.
That's true.
But
it definitely deserves to be in the top 50.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And I was very happy to see it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like Winger flies under the radar.
Oh, they absolutely do. I think Beavis and Butthead ruined them.
Yeah.
I really do. That's the truth.
And you know what's funny is the creator probably loves Winger. And it was probably just a joke,
right.
And everybody took it seriously. Yeah. You know, I can't say enough good things about this album.
Winger got that label that, like, you know, the bands get. It's like they were the chick band.
You know, and that drives me nuts when it comes to Winger, because when I think of chick bands, I think of, like, Journey, not Winger.
To me, well, we're a little bit younger, so that's Soccer Mom rock to me.
Journey?
Yeah. That's Soccer Mom rock.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they're not on this list.
They're not.
Rolling Stone probably would put them there.
No.
Because it's Rolling Stone.
Right.
But the Winger album, Winger, definitely deserves to be on here. But listen to it, folks. Definitely give us your opinion, but I just like the second one better. So maybe if that is in the future, I'll have a little more insight. But to me, if I had a choice between the two of them, I'm going the second one. I mean, almost 95% of the time.
No, we're going to disagree on that one.
Okay.
This one's my favorite Winger album.
It's definitely heavier.
It is.
It's a heavier, and I'm the heavier guy.
Yeah,
I like
true.
the heavier stuff.
True.
It's just something about my youth, my childhood, that second, I had that tape
that makes
of that
sense.
Second one. Yeah. That was my jam.
I remember having this one on cassette and just constantly just playing it. I probably wore it out.
Yeah.
And we started young. We were brought into the music when we were, 4 and 5 years old.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've been listening to these albums when they weren't even that old.
And I love Winger. That's why you said it was going to be my number one on this list. And you might be wrong.
I mean, you think about it. I was 4 years old in 91, and I had this cassette. So this album wasn't that old at that point.
It is a good album. I know I feel like I'm shitting on it. I just feel like after listening to it again, I honestly wanted to just go and listen to the second one.
Okay,
and that's just,
fair enough.
And to be fair, you know what? It could be the, we'll call it the AD effect, the after DAD effect, because it was after that shitty album of Disneyland After Dark. I listened to it after, and I wanted to just go to sleep or something. Mm-hmm. So maybe I still had a bad taste in my mouth about it, honestly. So let's give a recap. Number 50 was Lord Tracy.
Yes.
Deaf Gods of Babylon.
Yes.
49 was Mr. Big, Lean Into It.
Yep.
48 was Precious Metal, Right Here, Right Now.
Right.
47 was Lita Ford, Lita. Mm-hmm. 46 was Kick Tracy, No Rules. 45 was Pretty Boy Floyd. You say it.
Leather Boys with Electric Toys.
Thank you. Number 44 was Kiss, Lick It Up. Number 43 was Vixen. Number 42 was Disneyland After Dark, the greatest album title of all time, No Fuel Left from the Pilgrims. And that song sucks, too.
I just want to say one thing about these guys real quick. They had a new album come out this year.
Don't listen to it. And number 41 was Winger. You guys heard our opinions on the songs. Do you want to jump into your overall best ballad of this list?
Yeah, why don't you kick that one?
I think the overall best ballad of this list is I was there's a bunch to jump through.
There is.
A bunch of hoops to jump through, but I gotta go with Mr. Big, Just Take My Heart.
Okay.
That, to me, I like it better than... I mean, just ballad-wise, To Be With You, yeah. But, Just Take My Heart is so, sentimental. The guitar work is great. The drums are there. The Paul Gilbert solo is incredible.
Yeah.
To me, out of those 10 albums... And then, Kiss as well. But there's no really ballad on Kiss. Just Take My Heart. Listen to it, guys. Sing it to your girlfriend or boyfriend. And just enjoy it and like it. It's very sentimental. It's a very sweet, awesome song.
Oddly enough, we both picked a Mr. Big song.
You went the other way.
I went to Be With You.
I think that's the obvious choice.
Right, but at the same time, I honestly do feel like it's the best one. It was definitely the biggest hit
out of these, anything.
Yeah,
here.
Out of these 10 albums, for sure, that was the biggest hit.
And the closest one might be Lick It Up.
Yeah,
but yes, To Be With You,
or 17, but yeah,
To Be With You, not No Fuel for the Pilgrim.
No,
not that.
No, not that.
Don't get me.
Not that. So why don't we say what we think these first 10 that we went through should be rearranged, and you can count down.
What do you think my number 50 is?
I'm going to say it was the DAD.
The DAD, No Fuel for the Pilgrims. It's in my top 50. It is easily number 50.
Okay.
If not, number 74. Because I hate it. We'll go. What was your 10?
Mine was Precious Metal.
Precious Metal. Yeah, you took that up there. I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. I still would rather do it than DAD. Think about that.
I know. It just wasn't for me.
You're telling me you're going to put on DAD over
Precious Metal, yeah. I just couldn't do it.
Well, number 9 for me.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I really did not like it. It was so generic.
Well, I think you can tell that mine is DAD.
Okay.
As his name. Yeah.
It just, And number 7 for me was Precious Metal.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's there to me, but honestly, I'm putting
But you skipped your number 8.
Number 8, I'm sorry. Number 8 was Precious Metal. I apologize. No, those are my bottom 3. Like, DAD is 10 or 50. Kick Tracy's 49. Precious Metal is 48. I'm never listening to those probably again, and if anything, I guess I would listen to Precious Metal first.
Okay. Well, my 48 is going to be Lord Tracy. That's my 48.
Lord Tracy? Yeah. Not Kick Tracy.
No. I checked just to make sure.
We have to make sure we have the right Tracy's.
I checked just to make sure, and I spelled Tracy with a Y and not a double E.
Okay.
So that would be Lord Tracy.
Surprising you were wrong with your projection. Number 47 for me is Winger.
47 is Winger.
Yeah, I do like it. Okay. From 7 on, I will listen to these albums. But honestly, I had it on my original draft further ahead, and then after re-listening to some of these albums, they jumped it.
Gotcha.
So 47 for me is Winger.
Okay. 47 for me is going to be Lita Ford. Nothing against any, her for, the album or anything like that. I just really enjoyed the ones that follow so much. So.
Well, I'm just a step ahead of you because 46 for me is Lita Ford.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's right there. It's a good album. I'll definitely listen to all these after, from 7 on.
Yeah, right.
Lita Ford to me wasn't as complete of an album.
Okay.
Like, comparative to, say, Vixen, it was just... Vixen, I can listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
for
Lita
sure.
Ford, I could, but I could probably skip some songs.
Gotcha. So next, I'm going with 46 to be Kiss.
Kiss, yeah.
Yeah. Kiss is 46 for me.
You're offending Kiss Nation.
Yeah, I know. As being one of the biggest Kiss fans in the world, for me to say that album is...
Yeah.
But just look at the rest of this list compared to Lick It Up. And Lick It Up is, to me, the worst Kiss album. And I'm not saying, Kiss made a horrible album.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, out of all of the Kiss albums, this one is my least favorite.
Now, just out of curiosity, would Asylum be higher?
Yeah. If this was Asylum, I'd probably rank it at 41.
Yeah. Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
So
Asylum would have beat out every record on here.
I agree. So bad choice.
Rolling Stone, I'm calling your office tomorrow.
Bad choice. So what are we at now? 45?
Yeah.
Again, 45. I guess I'm not a step ahead of you. 45 for me is Vixen.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love that album. It made my top 5 of this list. It was, I won't say it was the biggest surprise, but it was definitely a surprise. I will listen to that album again and enjoy it.
Okay.
Honest to God.
Fair. 45 for me was Kick Tracy. Really enjoyed it. Really love Soul Shaker. Could listen to that song all the time. So 44 for you.
Is Kiss?
No, you kept them right where they were.
I did. Kept them at 44. I said enough. It's not their best album.
Yeah.
But A Million to One, honestly, and all those songs that I said that I picked were my pick, A Million to One is the best song out of any of these albums, I think.
Okay.
Like, that song alone redeems it and puts it up here. So, what was your 44?
My 44 was Pretty Boy Floyd.
Pretty Boy Floyd?
Yep. We probably gushed over this album enough, so I'm not going to say a whole lot, but just please, if you're listening to this podcast, listen to that album. And I'm talking specifically Leather Boys with Electric Toys. So good. That album specifically. So.
All right, 43 for me, one of the biggest surprises. Lord Tracy. I really like that album, man. Literally, if you think about how big I'm into Kiss and much I love Kiss, I will listen to Lord Tracy over Lick It Up.
Yeah.
I really like that album. It was a big surprise. It was fun. It's just good time rock and roll. Yes, it's 43 for me, and that is a big surprise.
Yeah, for sure.
Considering I never even heard of him.
Yeah.
I have no opinion on him whatsoever.
I'm actually surprised that ranked that high for you, to be honest. My 43 was Vixen. I absolutely love that album. This album was not new to me. I listened to this album all the time, so I knew exactly what I was hearing, and I love that record. So,
well, here's going to be the biggest shock. My number 42 is Mr. Big, Lean Into It.
Come on.
Didn't make it.
Wow.
What's your 42?
My 42 is Mr. Big, Lean Into It.
Oh, shit. We were both off about that.
You said that would be my number one.
I said that would be your number one.
And I'm sure when we first started talking about it, you thought you were right because I gushed over it.
You have to. It's just such a great album.
Yeah, for sure.
But the biggest thing, earth-shattering movement, is my number 41 is Pretty Boy Floyd.
Wow.
Dude, it is such a good album. It easily took number 1 for me.
Your entire list threw me off.
I told you you'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, obviously my number 1 is Winger.
Yeah.
I left them right where they're at. Or I shouldn't say number 1, 41, so we don't confuse our listeners here. This is only 10 of the 50.
Yes.
So number 41 for me would be Winger, right where they're at. Just such a great album. Great album.
Yeah. Surprising. So the recap of mine. 50 was DAD, 9 was Kick Tracy, 8 was Precious Metal, 7 was Winger, 6 was Lita, 5 was Vixen, 4 was Kiss, 3 was Lord Tracy, 2 was Mr. Big, and 1 was Pretty Boy Floyd. So
yeah, that's surprising to me.
Yeah.
For sure. So now next time we do 40 to 31, and it's going to start getting more competitive because the albums are really starting to kick some ass.
Well, now we have to maybe pause the podcast and do math real quick and figure out the definitive list between the two. We have to do the averages. You know what I'm saying? Real quick.
All right.
We might have to pause the podcast and let's do math so people don't think, we're doing math in our heads. So we'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Oh, God, my brain hurts doing all that math. Okay, so we had to make a decision. One of them was a tie, but not shocking. Here is the official All Bets Are Off top list that is going to be set in stone for 50 to 41 of the greatest hair metal. And do you have anything to argue about it?
I don't. I think we did it fair. We took our numbers, as in mine and yours, and the Rolling Stone number, and we came up with the official number after adding them together and
averaging them out. So number 50, to my delight, is Disneyland After Dark.
Yes.
Fuck that album. Number 49 was Precious Metal.
Fuck that album.
Number 48 was Lord Tracy. That makes sense because you kind of liked it. I really liked it. It averaged out to 48.
Right.
47, surprisingly, was Lita Ford.
Yeah.
Thought that'd be higher. 46 was Kick Tracy.
Not Lord Tracy. But Kick Tracy.
You liked to kick her.
I did.
And I didn't like it as much, but we're at 46.
Yeah.
45, surprisingly, was Kiss.
Yeah.
And then 44 was Vixen. 43 was Pretty Boy Floyd. 42 was Winger. And surprisingly, even though we didn't pick a number 1, the math came out. The greatest album of this list, number 41, is Mr. Big. Lean into it.
I'm not even going to argue with it because I do love the album. Yeah. Just because I'm more partial to the Winger album doesn't mean I'm, oblivious to the fact that Mr. Big is an amazing album.
It was both of our number 2s.
Yeah.
So the fact that the math came out, and because I was so much lower on Winger, and you were so much lower on Pretty Boy Floyd than I was, it shot Mr. Big up number 1, and that's fine.
That's fine with me, yeah.
So we took their accounts and our accounts, and there you have it. And I'm okay with this list.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, next time we break down the next 10, which may or may not be the next episode after this, depending on how we decide to do it, is going to be from number 40 to number 31. Yep. And the competition is going to get a lot harder.
Yes.
Because a lot of these albums in the next group of 10 are awesome.
I can already tell you the next album on the list is not staying where it is.
I agree. And that's why I said what I said. Because when I saw that, I was like, I listen to that album at least once or twice a week.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, folks.
All right. And that about wraps us up for today on the All Bets Are Off podcast. But before you go, follow the link in the description of the show to Insane Labs and use code RVegas30. Save yourself 50% on supplements. I'm talking pre-workouts, proteins, BCAAs, testosterone boosters, creatine. Of course, they have apparel, weight belts, anything that you need. If you're a wrestler, if you're a gym rat, if you're just somebody who's looking to stay in good shape because you enjoy it and it's fun, this is the stuff for you. I've never looked better. I've never felt better. And I'm really pushing these products, guys. I really need you to try them. And of course, we'll be back with you next week. Again, we apologize for missing a week. Road trip to Vermont. We may have to get the Nightbreed on here. We might have seen a Bigfoot. We don't know. We'll get him on and tell the story.
I was walking around with my shirt off.
So we're going to let this podcast go for now. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on the brand new All Bets Are Off Twitter at ABAOpod, and we'll see what you guys think. And Chris Jericho, I know you're listening because you're a big metal, glam rock guy yourself. Let us know what you think too. So we'll catch you guys next time. Chaz, you'll be back. Of course, you're going to do this whole list with us.
Yeah, man.
And we're going to do it the same way.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep rearranging our 10 and averaging it out. And,
our opinions matter too, sometimes more than the Rolling Stone guys, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, did they, grow up listening to this stuff every single day from the 80s? Yeah, probably.
Yes.
But, all right. We will see you guys next time on All Bets Are Off.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Do you like sports, interactive polls, friendly banter from two guys that probably shouldn't even be on the microphone doing this stuff anyways? Well, if you do, then you're in luck. Us two knuckleheads, Brandon and myself, comprise the Listen In Podcast. That's right, Listen In, the podcast. We're talking sports, we're talking news, we're talking topical things, we're talking all sorts of things, my babies, and you are all invited to listen in right here on the Gear Radio Network.